Hi kids, welcome back to another Pillar Kids video. We're so glad you're here. Today's memory verse that we're working on is 2 Timothy 1:7.
For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but one of love, power, and sound judgment. 2 Timothy 1:7.
Hey kids, today we're going to read the story of Noah's Ark. It's called A New Beginning. You can find it in your Bible in Genesis chapter 6 all the way through Genesis chapter 9. Let's start the story. Time passed and many people filled the earth. Everyone everywhere had forgotten about God. And they were only doing bad things all the time. God's heart was filled with pain when he saw what had happened to the world that he loved. Everywhere was disease and death and destruction, all the things that God hates the most. Now Noah was God's friend, which was odd in those days because not many people were God's friend. Noah listened to God. He talked to God. He just loved being with God, just like you love being with your best friend. Noah, God said, things have gone wrong. People have filled my world with hate instead of love. They are destroying themselves and each other and my world. I must stop them. First, we'll build an ark. Do you know how to build an ark? Neither did Noah. Luckily, God knew, and he was about to show him. A storm is coming, God told Noah. But I'll rescue you, I promise. I'll send the animals to you, ones that creep and crawl and slither and slime and gallop and hop and bound and climb. And don't forget to pack everyone's food. The storm was going to wash away all the hate and sadness and everything that had gone wrong and make the world clean again. God had thought up a way to keep Noah safe, but Noah would have to trust God and do exactly what God told him to do. So Noah built an ark, which is short for a really, really big boat. Noah's neighbors came out to watch and point and laugh because they didn't believe Noah about the boat and the storm and needing to be rescued. And Noah must have looked rather silly. His boat was in the desert. The desert was nowhere near the sea, and there wasn't even a cloud in the sky. Why would anyone need an umbrella, let alone a boat? But Noah didn't mind so much what other people thought. He minded what God thought. And he did exactly what God told him to do. When the ark was ready, God said, "All aboard!" And Noah's family and all the animals climbed inside. Then God shut the door. And it started raining. For minutes, that joined up into hours, that joined up into days, that joined into weeks and weeks. And the rain joined up into puddles, that joined up into rivers, that joined up into lakes, that joined up into a flood that covered the whole world. Their boat that at once seemed so big suddenly seemed so small. But in the middle of the huge storm, in the crashing waves, and in all the thunder and lightning, through it all, God was with them. And God kept them safe for 40 long days and 40 long nights. Finally, the rain stopped. The sun came out, and Noah threw open all the windows. "Hooray!" they shouted. Noah sent his dove out to explore, and it wasn't long before she brought him back a fresh olive leaf. Everyone knew exactly what that meant. She had found a tree and land. The water was going down. At last, the boat landed quite suddenly on the top of a great mountain. As soon as it was safe, God said, "Out you come." And so they did, everyone skipping and dancing onto the dry land. The first thing Noah did was to thank God for rescuing them, just as he had promised. And the first thing that God did was to make another promise. I won't ever destroy the world again. And like a warrior who puts away his bow and arrow at the end of a great battle, God said, "See, I have hung up my bow in the clouds." And there, in the clouds, just where the storm meets the sun, was a beautiful bow made of light. It was a new beginning for God's world. It wasn't long before everything went wrong again, but God wasn't surprised. He knew this would happen. That's why before the beginning of time, he had another plan, a better plan. A plan not to destroy the world, but to rescue it. A plan to one day send his own son, the rescuer. God's strong anger against hate and sadness and death would come down once more, but not on his people or on his world. Nope. God's war bow was not pointing down at his people. It was pointing up into the heart of heaven.
Noah obeyed God. God told Noah to build a big ark, a huge ship. And everyone laughed at Noah because they said, "Oh my gosh, what is he doing? Building a ship in the middle of the desert." But they didn't know what God knew, and that was that God was sending the flood to cover the whole earth. You see my globe? Yeah, the flood was going to cover the whole earth. But the best part about the story was that Noah obeyed God. Boys and girls, that's for you and me too. We must obey God, even when it seems like, "God, why are you telling me to share my cookies with my brother? He has his own cookies. Why do I have to share?" Well, obey God. Even if everybody around us is laughing, obey God. All right, boys and girls, it's so good to see you again. I hope you enjoyed the story time today. See you next time.